The submachine gun meta is currently in full swing, and with this meta, the question is begged to be asked, which SMG is best?
That's a ridiculous question. False.
For this video, I'm going to be comparing 4 SMGs, the silenced SMG, the normal SMG, the compact SMG, and the drum gun. Although the drum gun is described as an assault rifle SMG combo, it appears in the kill feed as an SMG and is more of an up-close weapon, so we will be considering it as such for this comparison. When comparing each of these 4 SMGs, I will take the highest rarity of each type to go up against each other. So the blue SMG versus the blue drum gun versus the blue silenced SMG versus the gold compact SMG. To start off, let's compare some basics of these weapons. The normal SMG fires 12 bullets per second, the compact SMG fires 10 bullets per second, and the silenced SMG and drum gun both fire 9 bullets per second. The SMG and silenced SMG feature the smaller magazine sizes of 30, whereas the drum gun and compact SMG bolster the larger magazine sizes of 50. The reload speed on the SMG and silenced SMG is 2.2 seconds, whereas the drum gun and the compact SMG have the slower reload speeds of 3 seconds. Let's go ahead and take a quick second to analyze that information. How do the reload speeds and rate of fires of these weapons affect their ability to continuously fire large quantities of bullets? Well, let's take a look at how long it takes each of these guns to go through 150 bullets. I chose 150 because it is the lowest common denominator of 30 and 50. So when it comes to the normal SMG, it takes 20.8 seconds to go through 150 bullets. The silenced SMG takes 24.9 seconds, the compact SMG takes 20.7, and the drum gun takes 22.3. So the compact SMG and normal SMG are the best in terms of long-term firing bullets, followed by the drum gun being in the middle, and the silenced SMG being the worst. This information is of course very valuable because SMGs by nature are meant to destroy builds. So being able to fire a lot of bullets very quickly and the fastest is something that's really going to give you an idea of how effective a weapon is at destroying builds. But of course that is only one slice of the pie when it comes to destroying builds. So before we get into that, next up let's look at the time to kill of these 4 weapons. Right here is the body shot time to kill of these weapons against an opponent who is 100 health at optimal range. As you can see, the drum gun absolutely crushes it in this comparison, having a time to kill of only 33 hundredths of a second. As of the time of me recording this video, that is also the fastest time to kill of any gun in Fortnite. Well, except for the bolt action sniper and the RPG. After the drum gun, the compact SMG has the second best time to kill of 4/10 of a second, followed by the normal SMG at 42 hundredths of a second, and the silenced SMG coming in last at 44 hundredths of a second. These weapons are all pretty similar, but the difference in time to kill can make a huge difference if you get one of these weapons right when you land. The faster time to kill on the drum gun can easily be the difference between you living or dying. Now the time to kill on these weapons, as I mentioned, is only at optimal range. And by optimal range, I mean the range at which there is no damage drop off. So the next thing we need to compare is of course the damage drop off for these 4 weapons. I'm going to keep this one pretty simple without going into too much depth. The normal SMG, compact SMG, and silenced SMG all have very similar damage drop off. They start damage drop off at 4 planks. A plank is just a piece of wood laid flat on the ground. So they start damage drop off at 4 planks and reach maximum damage drop off at 8 planks. The drum gun starts damage drop off at 4 planks as well, but it reaches its maximum damage fall off at 10 planks, 2 planks further than the other 3 weapons. That makes this seem pretty similar, but the thing is that the silenced SMG, the compact SMG, and the normal SMG do 40% total damage at 8 planks, whereas the drum gun is doing 70% of its total damage at 10 planks. So for example, the blue silenced SMG, which starts at 24 damage, would be doing a mere 9 damage when it reaches 8 planks and beyond, whereas the drum gun, which starts at 27, would be doing 17 when it reaches 10 planks. So the drum gun fares way better in terms of how much damage drop off affects it compared to the other 3 SMGs. When it comes to the silenced, the compact, and the normal SMG, their damage drop off versus opponents is exactly the same as their damage drop off versus builds and structures. So if you're shooting a piece of wood with the silenced SMG at 8 planks or further, you're only going to be doing 9 damage per bullet. When it comes to the drum gun, however, it has 0 damage drop off when shooting builds. So from 1 plank to 1,000,000 planks, it will always do the exact same damage per bullet when shooting at structures. That is an unbelievably massive advantage for the drum gun. The ability to put constant pressure on people by effectively destroying their builds at any distance is absolutely incredible, especially considering its fire rate and magazine size. That is why the compact SMG was so overpowered when it was first introduced into the game. It had 0 damage drop off against builds at the time, and of course it fires faster than the drum gun, so it would absolutely annihilate everything. So far it seems like the drum gun is doing about the best. It has the best time to kill, it has good long-term bullet spray, albeit not quite as good as the compact and normal SMG, and it has the best damage drop off of the 4 SMGs with no damage drop off whatsoever when it comes to destroying builds. So finally, let's look at the bloom, or in other words, bullet spread of these 4 weapons. If you don't know what bloom is, there's a link in the description down below that you can go quickly check out and then come back to this video. Usually when comparing these 4 weapons, I would hold completely still when doing this, but as someone mentioned in the comments of my last video, it's probably better to compare them when strafing, so we'll go ahead and strafe while we do this. So on screen now is the bloom of all 4 weapons, and when they get to the last bullet, I pause it so that we can compare them at their highest point of bloom. So as we can see, the silenced SMG finally wins a category by having the least amount of bloom. The lines around the reticle are more confined, so it is going to be the best and the most consistent. Then the compact SMG and drum gun are both nearly identical in terms of their bloom, and finally the normal SMG appears to suffer the worst from the effects of bloom. Remember that bloom is tied in directly with how much range a weapon has, specifically how effective a weapon is at extended ranges, because the less bloom a weapon has, the more likely you're going to hit your shots at longer distances. For those of you who watched my drum gun breakdown video from when it was first introduced into the game, you'll remember me commenting on the sporadic behavior of the reticle. It would appear that Epic decided to actually get rid of that, and that the drum gun's reticle no longer bounces all over the place like a triggered Ethan Klein. Now before I give my personal opinion on which of the 4 SMGs is the best, we need to look at one final piece of information, and that is that the drum gun requires medium ammo, whereas the other 3 SMGs require small ammo. This is very important because SMGs by nature, of course, have to have a lot of ammo. They're very spammy weapons, they're meant to destroy builds constantly. You're meant to be holding down the trigger, reloading, and then just holding down the trigger again, and just mowing through everything in your path. So when you're using a drum gun and you're using that medium ammo, you're directly taking away the ammo that your assault rifle can possibly be using. Typically you want to have a close range weapon like an SMG combined with a long range weapon like a SCAR, so having to take away that ammo from your SCAR or your assault rifle is really going to be detrimental. So the normal SMG, the compact SMG, and the silenced SMG have a very big advantage in this category because of course they use small ammo. With all of that being said, what is the best SMG in Fortnite? The drum gun, the normal SMG, the compact SMG, or the silenced SMG? Well, here's how I would personally rank them. Number 1, the drum gun. Number 2, the compact SMG. Number 3, the silenced SMG. And number 4, the normal SMG. The drum gun to me is just the best overall option. Unlimited build destroying range, reasonable damage drop off that isn't nearly as severe as the other 3, as well as reasonable bloom. So this weapon is able to do more damage than the other 3 SMGs, while also being relatively effective compared to the other SMGs. One thing that I will say is a major downside for this weapon is its ammo type. Requiring medium ammo directly affects your long range capabilities, and I often found myself running out of ammo very quickly. But when you have plenty of ammo, you can definitely see the very high benefits of the drum gun, which is why I personally think it is the best SMG in Fortnite. But anyway, that is all that I have for this video. Hopefully it was informative. Be sure to let me know in the comments which weapon you guys think is best, as I will definitely be going through them. Thank you all so very much for watching, especially if you made it to the very end of this video. I truly do appreciate it, and I will catch you in my next video.